you've got to fear them to a certain extent, but you've got to believe in yourself, and there's a team that we can win, and we're going there believing that.
It's talkSPORT's big day out. Who doesn't like to be beside the seaside? We're here at Brighton's Palace Pier, and we've got a very special guest. It's only the Seagulls captain, Lewis Dunk. Lewis, here we are, a few days before the FA Cup semi-final. Have the nerves started to kick in yet, or is it very much focused on the game?
No, just focused on the game. Literally just back in training today, getting the game plan ready and just focusing on that.
How excited are you though to step out of Wembley, lead the team out in a semi-final?
No, I'm buzzing. Obviously done it before, but it's very different circumstances now. I think the club's in a different place, the squad's in a different place, and we're going in it this time to win. And before it was difficult. We were focusing on staying in the Premier League. So it's complete different circumstances. And
Roberto Di Matteo is a manager who really seems to have instilled confidence and belief in this team. He'll have you going there not only believing you can win this semi-final, but believing you can bring the cup back to Brighton. Yeah,
and I think that's what he's instilled in us, and his passion is what he demands. I think is what we're seeing now on the pitch, and we go into every game thinking we can win. We're going there to get to the final.
And when he came in, De Zerbi was a bit of an unknown quantity. Adam Lallana says he realised within a couple of training sessions that he was a little bit special. Did you realise that pretty quickly as well?
Yeah, it was a hard transition. Obviously, Graeme did such a great job at the club and got us in a great position. And when things are going well, you don't really change managers. It's usually the other way around when it's going bad. So it was a difficult situation to transition over to Roberto now, and took a couple of weeks to get used to his ideas and his training style. But once a couple of days in, you knew how good we could be under him and see the ideas he was bringing out. And so you could not follow him and buy into what he was saying.
A very different character though to Graham Potter. Certainly shows a lot more emotion on the sidelines. Is he like that in the dressing room as well? Is he this volcano ready to explode?
Anytime, yeah. And I think that's a great part about him. I think because he loves the game that much, he believes in his ideas that much, that he wants it to work every time, be perfect. Like he says to us all the time, he's chasing perfection, but obviously perfection's very hard to get in the game of football. But we're striving for that and keep improving. And he's a very passionate man, and you see a lot of shouting, a lot of arms and all that.
And for you, it's from the Wivdean to Wembley. I mean, your career really has followed the same trajectory as the football club. Can you have imagined when you were playing in that ramshackle athletic stadium, making your debut, didn't have a permanent home at that stage, you were playing in the EFL, that a few years later you'd have played 400 games for the club, there'd be talk this season about maybe qualifying for the Champions League, your second FA Cup semi-final. Do you pinch yourself sometimes?
Sometimes, quite a lot actually, yeah. Especially this season, I think. More so because we're up the other end of the table this year and fighting for Europe and fighting for a European spot, and being in the semi-final, trying to get to a final and going there confident in our own ability and as a team that we can do it. So the club has come a crazy way, and it's just been an incredible journey to be on it, and enjoyed every moment of the journey so far.
Inevitably, when you have a bit of success as a smaller team, the bigger teams start to circle. We've seen that with Leandro Trossard and with Ben White and with Marc Cucurella. You managed to keep hold of Moises Caicedo in January. How big a statement was that from the owner? And again, this summer there's going to be interest in the likes of McAllister, Matoma, even young Ferguson. Do you believe you can keep the squad together?
I hope so. I think it was a massive statement in January from the club, and I think it's a statement they had to make. Obviously, it's shown. Obviously, boys have moved on for big money to big clubs, and we've had people waiting in the squad to step in and do the job, and we've still got that now if we do lose players. So if we do lose players, we've got people there to step in, but hopefully we can keep this squad together, get into Europe and build something very good here. So it was a massive statement to do what the chairman did.
And you've already beaten Manchester United once this season. You've beat them at the Amex a couple of times in recent years as well, so they don't hold that fear factor that maybe they would have done when you first came into the Premier League.
obviously they still feel that they're still top players and a top team, so you've got to fear them to a certain extent, but you've got to believe in yourself, and there's a team that we can win, and we're going there believing that. So yeah, they're obviously top players, and they can win a game, and like we can win a game too. So yeah, it'll be a good game, and see who comes out on top.
Will you take some lessons from that first day of the season at Old Trafford? Will you try and almost replicate that game plan, or are they a different team now? They've clearly evolved under Erik ten Hag.
Yeah, I think both have evolved. I think both teams have evolved, and both teams have changed, and I think both teams and squads are in different places than they were at the start of the year. Probably stronger than both ways are stronger. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, tough game, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Special game for Danny Welbeck, came through the academy there, obviously won Premier League titles under Sir Alex Ferguson, and probably will lead the line with Evan struggling with injury. Yeah,
we'll see how Evan is. Hopefully, God knows how he's going to be, but he might be back, he might not be, and we've got Danny who's been outstanding this year. The demands from the strikers with this manager is linking the play and scoring goals, so there's a lot of demand on them, and he's done that excellently this year, and yeah, it'll be a nice day for him playing against his boyhood club where he grew up, and yeah, hopefully he'll be celebrating the winner.
What's he done for you personally, De Zerbi? Because I mentioned your longevity, the number of games you've played, very much a one club man. Can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah, I've learnt so much since he's been at the club. He's changed my view on football, in the way football can be done and how simple he can make things, but being so complex at the same time. So yeah, he's put some extra hunger in me to keep improving, and I think this year I've improved a lot from the start of the year to now under his coaching, and hopefully I've got even more improvement to go under however long he's here.
Probably your most talked about player at the moment is Alexis McAllister, obviously is a World Cup winner now alongside the great Lionel Messi. There was that wonderful video the club put out of him returning to the training ground. You all stood in the foyer and applauded. Has it changed him at all in terms of his personality? Is he still humble? He's
still humble, and I think that's the best thing about it. Obviously, winning the World Cup's the biggest thing you can do in football, so it could easily change someone, but he's a humble guy with great work ethic and a good kid, so he's come back exactly the same as he was, obviously with extra confidence from winning the World Cup. But no, he's not got arrogant or nothing like that. He's still a humble boy.
Is that one of the secrets of your success? Because I was down there last week, you had the open training session, all of you stopped for a long time after you finished to sign autographs, you pose for photos as well. Is that humbleness important?
Yeah, and I think that's the club from the top to the bottom, this one like that, and it's a very community club and a humble club, and I think especially now the people they bring into the club, they look for that sort of character to bring in. So, and we've got a good 5 or 6 senior players of a group that helps the young boys, and we've got little young boys, so we've got likes of Lallana who's played at the very top, Welbeck has played at the very top, and then Pascal's incredible mentality, being German, coming over here, and he's brought into the English mentality, and he's incredible for the young boys as well. So we've got a good core that keeps the boys' feet on the ground.
And on a personal level, have you allowed yourself to dream about walking up those Wembley steps and lifting the FA Cup as Brighton captain? Can you allow your mind to wander?
Nah, not yet. Let's see after Sunday. But yeah, what an incredible moment that would be. But we've got a big game Sunday against a tough opposition that we've got to go and win. So to get the chance to do that. But we go there confident.
What's your best memory of the FA Cup growing up, or best memory of Wembley?
Best memory of Wembley would be my debut for England. Making my debut for England there was my best memory of Wembley.
Are you hoping that more caps could still follow?
Yeah, hopefully. I've still got a lot of life in me. I'm always improving, and you never know. All I've got to do is focus on my club football at Brighton and performing to as high a level as I can.
Did you speak to Gareth Southgate? Did you ever have any conversations about maybe why you're not in squads?
No, I've not heard nothing since the last squad I was in. So yeah, just focusing on playing for Brighton and trying to finish in Europe and in an FA Cup final.
You mentioned Europe. Obviously, the top 4 looks difficult now, particularly after that defeat at Spurs when you were really harshly done by. But can it still be achieved? You've got games in hand, you're in fantastic form, maybe teams around you aren't quite finding their mojo at this moment in time?
I think until mathematically it's not over, then it's not over, is it? So we've just got to focus on like we have done all year, is focus next game and take each game as it comes, and try and win as many as we can. If we win, I don't know how many it takes to get into the top 4 to catch the others, but it's a tough ask, but it's not over yet, so we're just focus game by game and try and win as many as we can.
But just finally, any European competition will be massive for this club, wouldn't it? When you think it was only 6 years ago this week you won promotion to the Premier League?
Yeah, it'd be an incredible extra step to the journey that the club's on. Obviously the club hope to be one day in it all the time and to build to that, but yeah, to be challenging it for now is even an incredible season, but to reach Europe, any European competition would be some humongous step for the club.